Welcome to Diamond Solutions for Mathematics. We are discussing questions of quadratic equations in 11th standard mathematics. Solve the equation x squared minus of 3 root 2 minus 2i into x minus 6 root 2i equals 0. This question is related with the complex numbers. Here the coefficients and the terms are complex numbers. X squared minus of 3 root 2i, 3 root 2 minus 2i into x minus 6 root 2i equals 0. It is better to solve using quadratic formula. A equals 1, B equals minus of 3 root 2 minus 2i, and C equals minus 6 root 2i. Therefore, x equals minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. That is the formula for finding the solution of x. Therefore, x equals minus b minus of 3 root 2 minus 2i. That is minus of minus plus. Therefore, 3 root 2 minus 2i. This minus will vanish here. Plus or minus b squared, 3 root 2 minus 2i the whole squared, minus 4ac, 4 into a, 1, 1 into c, minus 6 root 2i by 2a, 2 into 1. That is 3 root 2 minus 2i plus or minus 3 root 2 minus 2i the whole squared. That is 3 root 2 the whole squared. 3 into 3 into 2, 18, minus 2i the whole squared. 2 minus 2i into minus 2i, minus 2 into minus 2, plus 4 into I squared, minus 1. That is minus 4. Minus 4 into 1 into minus 6 root 2i. That is minus into minus plus 4 into 6, 24 root 2i plus 24 root 2i. Thus 18 minus 4 minus 12 root 2i plus 24 root 2i whole by 2 into 1, 2. That is 3 root 2 minus 2i plus or minus 18 minus 4 minus 12 root 2i and plus 24 root 2i are like terms. Therefore, when we simplify, we get plus 12 root 2i. That is 3 root 2 minus 2i plus or minus 18 minus 4 plus 12 root 2i is a squared. 3 root 2 the whole squared is 18. 2i the whole squared equals minus 4. Therefore, 2 into 3 root 2 into 2i is plus 12 root 2i. Therefore, 3 root 2 plus 2i the whole squared. Very intelligently we can simplify this one and factorize 3 root 2 plus 2i the whole squared. 18 minus 4 plus 12 root 2i is 3 root 2 plus 2i the whole squared by 2. Therefore, 3 root 2 minus 2i plus or minus 3 root 2 plus 2i by 2. That is 3 root 2 minus 2i plus 3 root 2 plus 2i by 2. First option. Second option, x equals 3 root 2 minus 2i minus of 3 root 2 plus 2i is minus 3 root 2 minus 2i the whole by 2. Therefore, minus 2i and plus 2i will cancel. Therefore, 3 root 2 plus 3 root 2 by 2, that is 6 root 2 by 2. X equals 6 root 2 by 2. Or x equals 3 root 2 and minus 3 root 2 cancels. Therefore, minus 2i and minus 2i gives minus 4i by 2. X equals minus 4i by 2. 6 root 2 by 2 defines x equals 3 root 2. Minus 4i by 2 defines x equals minus 2i. Hence, we can define the solutions are x equals 3 root 2 and x equals minus 2 root 2i for the given quadratic equation x squared minus of 3 root 2 minus 2i into x minus 6 root 2i equals 0. Subscribe Diamond Solutions for Mathematics for easy and tough questions of mathematics.